This investigation is based on publicly available reports, court documents, regulatory findings, and reputable journalism. Imagine creating an investment fund to help an entire country become richer. Now, imagine billions of dollars quietly disappearing from that fund, not through a bank robbery, not through hackers, but through paperwork, luxury yachts, private jets, mansions in Beverly Hills, paintings worth millions, even one of Hollywood's biggest movies, all allegedly financed with money that was supposed to build a nation's future. This is the story of 1MDB, a financial scandal so ambitious. It reached governments, Wall Street, celebrities, and the film industry. But the most fascinating question isn't where the money went. It's why the system allowed it to happen in the first place. In 2009, Malaysia launched an ambitious project, a sovereign wealth fund called One Malaysia Development Berhad, or simply, 1MDB. Its mission sounded simple: borrow money, invest wisely, generate long-term economic growth. Many countries operate sovereign wealth funds successfully. Norway, Singapore, Abu Dhabi. The concept itself wasn't unusual. Neither was the promise. Develop the country, create jobs, finance infrastructure, improve the future. On paper, it looked like a powerful idea, and that's exactly why almost nobody questioned it. Because sometimes, the safest-looking ideas receive the least scrutiny. Behind many financial scandals, there's a public face, and then there's the person operating behind the curtain. In the case of 1MDB, that person was Jho Low. He wasn't an elected official. He didn't officially run the fund. Yet investigators would later allege that he became one of its central architects. Unlike many fraudsters, Jho Low didn't present himself as a financial genius. He presented himself as someone who knew everyone: bankers, politicians, celebrities, investors. Influence became his currency, because in global finance, relationships can sometimes move money faster than numbers. Here's what makes the 1MDB scandal so different from a traditional robbery. The money didn't disappear all at once. It moved, one transaction at a time, through companies, bank accounts, international transfers, offshore entities. Each individual transaction often looked ordinary. A payment here, an investment there, a consulting agreement somewhere else. Nothing dramatic, nothing cinematic. But together, they formed a network so complex that tracing the money became a global investigation. That's one of the most important lessons in financial crime. Large fraud rarely depends on one illegal transaction. It depends on thousands of ordinary-looking ones. To raise billions of dollars, 1MDB needed access to global financial markets. That's where major investment banks entered the picture. Among them, Goldman Sachs played a central role by helping arrange bond offerings that raised billions for the fund. Those transactions generated enormous fees, much larger than what similar deals typically produced. Years later, the bank would face investigations, settlements, and billions of dollars in penalties related to its role in the scandal. The lesson isn't that large financial institutions create fraud. It's that size alone is never proof of safety. Even the world's biggest organizations can become part of failures they never intended, or fail to stop. People often ask, how can nobody notice? The better question is, did anyone actually see the whole picture? Banks saw transactions. Law firms saw contracts. Government saw projects. Auditors reviewed financial statements. Each institution saw a small piece of a much larger puzzle. Very few people had access to the entire picture. And when responsibility becomes fragmented, accountability often disappears with it. Financial scandals don't always survive because information is hidden. Sometimes, they survive because information is scattered. Then came one of the most surreal chapters of the investigation. Authorities alleged that money connected to the scheme helped finance The Wolf of Wall Street, a film about financial excess, funded by money allegedly linked to one of the largest financial scandals in history. It's almost impossible to invent irony like that, but it also reveals something deeper. Money doesn't carry labels. Once it enters the financial system, it can travel through industries, countries, and institutions, long before anyone asks where it originally came from. The 1MDB scandal wasn't successful because someone stole billions overnight. It grew because each step looked small enough to ignore. Each transaction had an explanation. Each document appeared routine. Each institution believed someone else had already asked the difficult questions. Until one day, the entire structure became impossible to defend. That's the strange physics of financial deception. The bigger a fraud becomes, the harder it is for people to imagine it could actually be fraud. Success creates credibility. Credibility attracts trust. Trust reduces scrutiny. And reduced scrutiny allows the fraud to grow even larger. The 1MDB scandal wasn't just about missing money. It exposed how complexity, influence, and fragmented responsibility can allow enormous financial failures to unfold in plain sight. It reminds us that financial crime isn't always about breaking into a vault. Sometimes, it's about convincing the system to open the door for you. History remembers the scandal. We investigate the pattern. Every financial crime leaves a trail. Follow it.